Austin Talks. Howdy, I'm Austin Larson, and thank you so much for checking out my podcast. I'm gonna fade that music out real quick. Alright, so I'm so sorry for the long hiatus, first off. I really meant to say something, but life just kinda happened and I didn't get around to it. Between everything going on, work, and just life, I just haven't had the time to produce new episodes. We're gonna be on a hiatus for a little bit longer. As of right now, I'm thinking we're going to start seeing new content on a somewhat consistent basis in early July. And you know what? Speaking of current events, this episode is dedicated to the memory of George Floyd, and in a broader sense, it's dedicated to anyone who's ever been victimized by an authority figure abusing their power. Let's go ahead and put that music back in. Alright, well thank you so much for the continued support. If this is your first time listening, thank you so much for checking out what I've got. This episode is one of my favorite films and one of my oldest friends. Really hope you enjoy this edition of Austin Talks Through the Movie. Howdy, I'm Austin Larson, and this is Austin Talks Through the Movie, a supplemental podcast to the Ex-Girlfriend Tattoo podcast. I'm honored and privileged to be joined by my guest today, the one and only Reverend Dr. Matt Henry.
Woohoo! Yeah, those are quite a chain of titles, isn't it?
It rolls off the tongue, though.
Well, it kind of does, doesn't it?
It does. I really enjoy it, at least. I've known you for, I've known you for years now.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Jeez.
Seriously.
The first time we were on stage together. God, I can't even remember 2000 and what?
Yeah, 2000. Oh, man.
2012 maybe.
I think, 2012
Probably.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah.
No, but that's exactly how I know you. We both bear the scars of community theater.
Perfect way to put it.
That was a very fun time in our lives. Let's see. Do you have any fun memories or stories from those days?
Yeah, I remember in Flee From Her era, who could ever forget you in those Panther underwear with nothing else on, I think. But
I think they were leopard.
They were leopard, that's right. You might have had socks on for that one, too. But you're swinging around in that round bed as the scene revolved, and there you were, Mr. Hugh Hefner himself on that. that was definitely a highlight memory of some of our productions together.
Definitely, no. For that play, it was, I was Claude Debauche in A Flea in a Rear.
Yep,
that was, oh, man.
Yeah, you were excellent in that, too.
Thank you.
That was really a fun role to play off you, too.
Especially, because you were what, Dr. Panache?
Exactly.
And that was, those Panache. Two characters play off each other so well.
In a nice way, yeah, throughout the play. It was really fun.
Definitely, yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. Oh, man.
Yeah.
What a time. Yeah.
And we had fun with those roles.
We really did, those, that play was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Everything about it was, it was a fun time in my life too, that was my senior year of high school. And it was, there were some interesting times, definitely. So, kind of switching gears here, just because of the film we're going to be watching today, this question, and this is, I'm not going to lie, this is a little bit heavier than what we usually touch on Austin Talks Through the Movie, but theoretically, if you had the ability, the means, whatever, to bring a loved one, or whoever really, back from the grave, would you do it?
Well, that's an interesting question. I guess it depends upon what are the ramifications of the decision, right? Mephistopheles, you're asked, that's kind of the question, right? Eternal life for my soul until it's time to pay the bill. Certainly there are people that are dead that I would love to absolutely experience again. What did it mean for Lazarus to be brought back out of the cave by Jesus? My grandparents, particularly, some aunts and uncles, family like that. Yeah, it'd be lovely.
I completely feel that. I guess the first thought in my head is Pet Sematary. That was, or I guess the film adaptation of Pet Sematary, the 1989 one. That was one of the first horror films that really scared me as a kid. So,
Pet Sematary, that's a classic, isn't it?
Right? Yeah. But definitely the idea of bringing someone back from the beyond like that. They're like you said earlier. What are the ramifications exactly? I feel like that's definitely a big part of it. But also,
it's like there were ramifications for Dr. Frankenstein. It's like,
most definitely.
So there's one example of how maybe doing that can go awry.
Right. Your results may vary.
Exactly. Do not repeat this at home, kids.
No, definitely
Absolutely.
is. Frankenstein is
That's
to be
right.
observed and studied, but
That's
not
right.
replicated.
Although I'll tell you what, interestingly enough, since you got us on this topic, I think it would be interesting if genetic science actually does, like supposedly they've got, mastodon DNA that's revivable, and there's like some experiment somewhere.
Oh, wait, I've seen another movie that turns out like this, though. I don't know.
I don't know. It'd be fascinating, right? Bring back something like that out of the prehistoric Pleistocene age, mastodons. Who knows? It's Tyrannosaurus right around the corner, and then it's movie time, baby.
Right, there we
Excuse
go.
to make a lot more money.
Hey, I hear it.
For being so cynical.
Oh, please, no. But yeah, sorry, going back, bringing people back from the dead, and even then, after we've mourned, after we've lost and everything, I mean, should there be an afterlife or anything, I'd hate to disturb their rest,
Exactly. I was thinking that point too. That's part of the ramifications of it. It's like, what would that entail for them? Would they be like, what the hell did you wake me up for? It was so beautiful, or like, let's party where I left off for another how long, it's like, what does that mean?
Very true.
That's an interesting question. That's kind of fun.
Well, thank you. Kind of a different topic here, but so are you familiar at all with the term helicopter moms?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, parents who are just so involved in their kids,
like soccer moms on steroids.
That's a good way to put it.
Stage mothers on steroids would be probably better.
Have you ever known any real shining
prop
examples?
Moms? Oh, prop moms? Oh, dear boy, none that I could publicly reveal. But you and I both know we've known a few.
Yes, we have. Yeah, there are some names that I... But yeah, no, we've both known some helicopter moms, definitely, through the world of, community theater especially.
Absolutely.
Let's see, I'm trying to think of, oh man, who are some that I've known?
I've seen helicopter moms with, like, ballet, fine arts like that, especially sports, although there could be helicopter dads when it comes to that, too, in fact.
Helicopter parenting is an equal opportunity sport.
God, isn't it? It's really true.
Activity. Helicopter parenting is an equal opportunity activity, yeah.
There you go.
Steve Buscemi is he's the male lead in this film. He's very prominently featured. Oh, great actor.
He's one of the
I
best.
love him.
Oh, yeah.
What's one of your favorite Steve Buscemi roles?
Gosh, probably the classic would be Fargo for me. And also, I got to stay with Cohen. Let's see. The Dude Abides. What is that? The
Big Lebowski?
The Big Lebowski. Yeah.
Big Lebowski. Oh, Donnie. Yeah.
He's great in that.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Absolutely. Right. It's his ashes that get thrown up in the end and it all gets in their faces. Sorry, folks, for spoiler alert on that one.
If you haven't seen Lebowski yet, though, you're way behind the times. Let's be honest here.
Absolutely. And, to tell you the truth, I just saw him again in TV on something in a film. He's much older. And, I thought, yeah, God, the guy is still just a great actor. He's still doing a great job. But he's still got that Buscemi quality to him. It's like
really
no matter
does.
what role he gets, he's like kind of always that Steve Buscemi like dude that's just kind of, kind of at the same time, kind of a pervy thing to him, but funny, but also good at serious roles. I mean, he's a good actor.
I love Steve Buscemi. No, he's a good
ensemble actor.
Definitely. Think. No, I mean, let's see. I mean, like,
you're a good ensemble actor, in fact.
Well, thank you.
You really are. Yeah.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think for me, Buscemi, probably one of my favorite roles is, definitely Donnie, in The Big Lebowski. Mr. Pink in Reservoir Dogs. That's another great role I absolutely love.
Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, absolutely. Right. I totally forgot about that one.
Right.
And that's a young Buscemi,
It is. He's definitely a lot younger. Pulp Fiction,
Pulp Fiction.
One. Even though he's a waiter. I think he has 2 lines.
Not
in that
much,
movie,
but it's still him. It's still that Buscemi-ness that he brings to the screen. Absolutely. Tarantino and the Coen brothers. He's done the best work with.
I think. And then also, I don't know if you watched The Sopranos while it was on.
I never did. But, interesting. I never did watch one episode of that show.
It's a really good, especially.
So I've heard.
As much as you liked Breaking Bad, I really feel like The Sopranos definitely laid a lot of the groundwork that allowed a TV crime drama like Breaking Bad to be taken as seriously as it deserved to be, I feel like The Sopranos definitely laid a lot of groundwork for that. But yeah, no, he comes on in a later season. He plays Tony Soprano's cousin, Tony Blundetto. He has a great run on that show, and I'd say that his entrance and his exit are equally dramatic. He was great on that show.
Cool.
So yeah, the film we're watching today is the 1993 classic Ed and His Dead Mother, directed by Jonathan Wax. It's one of my favorite Steve Buscemi roles. I want to say I probably saw this film in high school the first time. We're going to be watching it today on shoutfactorytv.com. That one, you don't need to register or anything. You will need to confirm your age, but really shouldn't be an issue with me nor you, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, awesome. To sum up this film in one sentence, it's a film about a man who desperately misses his mother and would do anything to get her back. Matt, you ready?
I am, man. Let's do it.
All right, hope you're enjoying the program so far. We're just under 11 minutes into the show, so if you plan on watching Ed and His Dead Mother, go ahead and pause this. Once again, if you plan on watching the film, it's available for free at shoutfactorytv.com. If not, here's a plot synopsis courtesy of Wikipedia.
3, 2, 1.
Ed Chilton inherits his family's hardware store following the death of his beloved mother, Mabel. He lives with his maternal uncle, Benny, who appears to be happy that his annoying sister is out of his life. One morning, Ed is approached at work by salesman A.J. Peddle, who offers to resurrect Ed's mother for $1,000. Ed is skeptical, but Peddle insists that it must be done immediately as she has been dead for too long to risk further delays. Ed accepts, which disturbs Uncle Benny, who believes the act to be unethical. Over time, Mabel's behavior becomes increasingly bizarre and unacceptable. When she begins scaring the neighbors and chasing dogs with a knife, Ed is forced to admit that something is wrong. He seeks help from Peddle, but the salesman wants more money. Eventually, Ed accepts that he must move on and let his mother die. Out of self-defense, he decapitates Mabel and later says goodbye to her, but the head comes back to life and bites him on the lip when he gives her a final kiss. Disgusted, he throws the head into the grave, finally freeing him of his overbearing mother. A very dark comedy indeed. Interestingly enough, I found out the actress who played Storm is actually married to Kevin Sorbo from God's Not Dead fame. And other stuff too, but mainly God's Not Dead. So if anybody's ever wanted to see Mrs. Sorbo topless, I guess this is the film for you. Yeah, I really can't believe I didn't recognize him, but the character of Rob was totally played by John Grease, better known for the role of Uncle Rico in Napoleon Dynamite. I really had a lot of fun viewing this movie, I had a lot of fun reviewing it, and I hope you are as well. We now return to the viewing in progress. All right, man, so what'd you think of that?
It was an interesting question to examine through the art of cinematography. What would be the ramifications if you brought someone back from the dead, even a loved one like a parent, for that matter, which is what the case is in this film. But I found myself thinking while the film was playing about what would be my choice if it were my wife. I probably would go for it. If I were the parent of a child that had been killed, I would probably go for it. No matter what the ramifications ultimately are. So there was just that nice little philosophical kind of touch to the film about that question. If you're able to bring Lazarus-like somebody back from the dead, what does that entail down the road?
Definitely, no. I mean, that, like you said right there, like a parent who lost a child. I mean, it parallels to Pet Sematary, I mean, it's definitely, it's a very heavy question. It's very deep and poignant.
Actually.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, definitely. And this particular take on it, I thought it was very interesting.
Me too. It was an interesting, almost sci-fi take. Not sci-fi, but interesting, fictional, weird way of angle, really, of looking at that question of death in general. I mean,
it's a dark fantasy,
Yeah, and I liked the vehicle that it was presented on, that kind of dark comedy. Perfect genre for wrestling with that question.
It had the perfect blend of humor in there.
Yeah, it really did. Buscemi was the guy to pull it off.
Oh, seriously.
He's got that face. He's got a rubber face. And I remember I've heard from other actors about him that they consider him, one of his skills is that his huge eyes, the slackness of his face, kind of his big mouth. Sometimes, his teeth look kind of weird. But I mean, all that is so a part of his talent.
Oh, definitely.
And to be able to mug like that, he's got a wide range of facial expression. That's all I'm just trying to say. And I think it really adds to his acting chops.
I agree. No, I
He's
love
a
Steve
fluid
Buscemi,
actor.
and no, and he has such a great range. I mean,
Absolutely.
I really like how the beginning of the film, the introduction and the ending too, we'll get to that, but the beginning of the film especially, it was shot in black and white, and it has a
Right.
very noir feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Noir would be the word. Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
No, it, just the way it was set up, the dialogue even, and then of course, when they introduce Uncle Benny, just that, I feel like that was a pretty clear homage to Rear Window.
Yeah. Excuse me. That's an interesting thought. Yeah, peering through the window at the woman. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that'd be kind of hard to miss, I guess. Even though I missed it, but as you're saying that, I'm thinking, yeah, as Betty's looking through the telescope, peering through the curtains across the way with a woman, who knows it, and is self-aware of that, and
Very
playing
important
on that.
distinction.
Yeah, I think you've got something there. Yeah, that was a nice little, I think right on that. Good for pulling that out. I think it was exactly an homage to that film.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I just have it written down here in the notes that, really, joints are great for movies. I'm usually I am a tried and true bong guy, but I mean,
So tell me, why are joints good for films?
what I liked about it was definitely a lot less distracting. I mean, a lot less noisy than a bong, and just the air of it, especially like having someone to watch the film with and just having a joint. I almost kind of felt like I was in Cape Fear, just that scene where,
Cape Fear.
where Max caddying, where Max is smoking the cigar in the movie theater like that, just smoking my little joint like that. No,
Well, it is. Yes, it's an enjoyable activity, isn't it? They work well together.
They do, definitely. And I mean, I feel like with the joint, there's burning, so there's a little more pressure to continue smoking it. So you focus more on which leads to focusing more on the film, where a bong, you can be kind of lazy.
I don't know. I mean, you're getting high during the film, no matter how you're doing it. There's at some point, you're kind of losing a little contact with the storyline of the film, whether it's bong hits, man, or like a burning doobie. I mean,
No, you're not wrong. I mean, I guess it's a different way to analyze film.
it is a different way to analyze
and of course, it
film.
depends a lot on the film. That's why
It sure does.
I'm fairly selective on what we watch on this show. So,
Cool.
All right. But yeah, and then of course, early on in the film, especially when they're establishing, like the photo of Mother with like the kind of black, garland around it after her passing, the mirror right there. I felt like that was.
What? Did you get that? I did
I
too.
did.
What did you think about that movie?
I thought it was a really great prop. But I wasn't sure. Like, is that something people regularly do in their homes, like with a photo display like that, or is that?
I mean, not in my experience. What I got out of that shot was that the mirror was exactly in the middle of like a cross of photographs. So Buscemi, in fact, his photograph is at the top. The bottom photograph is a photograph of Eisenhower as a general. I think Benny is in there, but I mean, so I thought, oh, that's interesting because the camera shot is perfect. You see Buscemi's reflection, his face, in the mirror, which is in the center of this cross, if you will, of photographs, of which he is himself one of the photographs. So it's just an interesting thing. And then in a split second later, then the camera's on his uncle, who's the same shot. You see his face reflected from the mirror in the same sequence, with the photographs. So I just wonder, that's an interesting camera touch. I don't think that was just random.
No, like intentional.
I would think it was meant to help tell the story, or whatever, say something. I think it was intentional. That would be my guess.
Okay, no, I like that.
Just because of the angle of the shot and how exactly it captured the reflection of their faces in the mirror was in the exact center of the frame of the shot. So I don't know. Yeah, I think they were intentional. That's all I guess I'm trying to say.
Oh man, there's a lot of great lines in that movie. Like a lot of our top
Absolutely.
politicians have been dead for years.
Yeah, I loved that.
That was
that was a classic.
I got a kick out of
So
that.
did I.
One thing I thought was really interesting, especially when AJ is kind of showing Ed, Mother when she's still kind of cut up in the trunk. Just
Yeah.
that trunk shot, cutting from the interior of the trunk to Steve Buscemi reacting. That felt so fucking familiar. And I mean, Reservoir Dogs. There's a shot very similar to it in that film.
Yeah, I get that. And, here's another one that I was thinking of. To me, that was very Vince Gilligan-ish in Breaking Bad. That kind of camera
Yes.
shot from, the camera shot is being taken from the perspective of the dismembered body in the trunk, Gilligan, that's one of his genius, brilliant points too, in terms of his camera work, where he places the camera for the shot under the sink drain. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in the toilet. I mean, on the top of a fly flying around.
There were some cool POVs on that show.
Absolutely. So I don't mean to get off topic, but that's one thing that, it's just great film craft ultimately, or certain shots like that help tell the story.
Definitely. I mean, I've talked about Jaws before on this show, and I mean,
There you go.
That film. I mean, so much of that because of the different points of view. I
Absolutely.
mean, that's what makes it. No, I mean, great storytelling, cinematography is such a big part of it. No, I agree absolutely. Thank you. And I love, of course, when Ed says, Mama taught me it's better to be a hammer than a nail.
Yeah, I thought that was a good one.
Sometimes you're a hammer, sometimes you're the nail.
Absolutely.
But
sometimes the bear eats you, and sometimes you eat the bear.
Right? No, man, truer words never spoken. There was one shot of Ed wearing his brown suit that I kind of said, Steve Buscemi could play a convincing live-action Hans Moleman from The Simpsons.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? I feel like if anyone can do it justice, it'd be Buscemi.
Absolutely. So true.
The times he gets distracted, he must really love his mother.
Yes, there were some brilliant lines in this. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad that you're recalling them to my mind.
No, yeah.
Because I remember each and every one of them. They're so funny.
Seriously, great dialogue.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
Like like Uncle Benny, talking about Ed playing with, and I could have just misheard it, but I think he mispronounced. I think he was trying to say tarot cards, but he just said, Terry cards, and that, in my mind, that's what they are now. They're Terry cards.
Terry cards. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Terry cards. That Reverend, though, it quickly became my favorite character.
I can see why. Yeah, he was really funny, wasn't he?
Let's see. When I was younger,
he was off the wall. He was so funny.
Right.
The pastor that's kind of off the deep end.
Yeah.
How many of those have we met?
Do you have experience
Reverend
with those?
Dr. Henry. Yeah, exactly.
Reverend Dr. Matt Henry.
Exactly. That's right. I have had experience with those.
No. When I was growing up, I had an acting class, and I had an acting teacher tell me that, if I worked at it and by some, dumb luck, I became a professional actor, he told me, he told me that, I'd be a character actor, he's like, you're probably not going to be like the leading, but, definitely like a character actor. I could see you doing well, as that. And to which, I mean, yeah, honestly, like in this movie, I would want to play the Reverend. That's the role I would want to play.
That would be a fun role.
That would, out of every, and so no, I mean, now I completely understand what he meant, it's...
Yeah, I think that's a good point too. That was a fun little juicy role. Didn't take a lot of screen time, but what time it did, it was big and it was fun, and that guy really eked it out,
He's the one you remember in the movie. Yeah. I mean, out of everyone in that movie, fairly small cast. But
truly.
But that Reverend, he doesn't show up till, I'd say, more than halfway through.
Absolutely.
But it's like, oh, damn.
But when he does, it's so funny.
And then, I absolutely love Aunt May as a cover story.
What?
So that was when Ed's father's relatives come, the relatives from his father's side, and Aunt May, the identical twin sister.
Oh, right.
Oh man, I thought that was a pretty funny cover story.
That must have been one of the times I was like, more attuned to the smoking doobie, and I was maybe checking out of the storyline.
Hey, it happens, man.
Sorry.
So, but it's interesting. So you mentioned that there was a framed photo of, you said Eisenhower, right? Like
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like.
Did you see the photo of George H.W. Bush on the piano?
Yeah, I saw that one too. Yeah, I thought it was good.
I thought that was, it's very much God and country, you know?
Yeah, on the
It's-
piano, absolutely. And that spot on the piano, that's kind of the sacred old lady spot, in that type of house, at least that's being portrayed. And I think
like, I'd
that's-
understand W, but I mean, HW, I'm like, oh, damn, that's, I mean, talk about blind love to your party, but, so Big Lair's attitude toward seeing Ed's mother for the first time, that was
Big Larry, what a funny character too.
seriously,
Yeah,
but
you
he
can
was
see where
just,
they get the name for him.
he was so chill, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it was just alternatively just being helpful and being worried, and then of course, I mean, the references to A Christmas Carol, that was
And he's a brilliant actor.
serious.
I think
Oh,
so.
man.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that ending was great, though, just everything going to color and, forget Mother, she's dead now. I mean, I kind of felt like that was Ed's, version of We Belong Dead. Or maybe.
Well, sometimes that is better.
When the black and white then goes back into color at the very end, it's like I kind of knew that was going to happen. I mean, think about how often you see that kind of that idea used in film, talking about like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, and how many times that black and white into color, or vice versa. Pleasantville, for instance, that's another one.
Oh, Pleasantville, yeah.
Yeah, so how that works, and I thought that was kind of an interesting touch to this film as well.
I liked it. No,
Yeah,
definitely.
anyway.
All right. Yeah. And then, I mean, yeah, that ending was great. Especially getting to hear They Might Be Giants over the credits, I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. Just some final thoughts on the film. All right. So overall, did you enjoy it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I enjoyed the question it was asking. I enjoyed the concept, how it was presented. I enjoyed the dark comedic aspect of it. I think it was just well cast in every respect. Yeah, it was a film I'd recommend.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
it was excellent.
No,
It
for
was
me,
fun film.
no, I had a lot of fun as well. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Really. So if Evil Dead, Psycho, and parts of Pet Sematary tried to make a rom-com, it'd be this film.
That's good. I think that's good. Well put.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you got a point there.
Or alternatively, it's the film Garden State didn't have the balls to be. All right. So real quickly, while we're wrapping up here in closing, Matt, is there anyone you might want to shout out who might be listening to the program?
Jeez, man. My wife. She's probably not listening to it, actually, but I'd like to give the shout out to her nonetheless. To Amy. Thank you for asking.
Of course, man. Oh, Amy. Yeah, she's awesome,
As
man.
always, thank you for asking.
Hey, of course. Well, thank you. Thank you for being a guest today. Thank you for so much. It was awesome seeing you.
This has
Awesome
been
having
fun.
you on the show. It's been
Oh,
a lot of
thanks.
fun, man. Yeah,
Well,
no.
I'm
So
honored.
once again,
fun.
Reverend Dr. Matt Henry, thank you so much.
You're welcome, dude.